we have the running order, and we already talked about the first semifinal, so logically we have to talk about the second semifinal. Who are the winners? Who are the losers? According to our opinions. Let's talk about it. Let's talk Eurovision. What's up, you fools? That is United, your favorite Eurovision channel. We're still in Amsterdam, where we're getting ready for a Eurovision concert. It's going to be a long day, but that's why we're here. It's all about Eurovision. So we got to talk about it, my friends. A couple of days ago, the running order for the semifinals was released, and interesting to say the least. And a lot of people, and we're going to talk about it, are calling the second semifinal this time the semi of death, I guess, the tough one. Let's talk this through, and if we agree, and if it's true or not, who are the winners, who are the losers. Let's put the running order on screen. There you have it. As you can see, Armenia is opening the show this time around, and Azerbaijan is closing the show. So, and
couldn't have put them any further apart.
I know, they couldn't further apart. I was going to say the same thing. It was a very interesting, a very interesting lineup in between. Let's talk about it. Did the betting odds and fan favorites, were they favored in the running order or not? Sean, what are your first thoughts when you look at this whole darn thing? Let's take it the first half. I mean, just overall first. What do you think?
It's a very strange semi-final when you look at it, and I know, again, like I said in the first semi-final video, you can't predict what countries are going to pick what. So it's all, you know, they've got to deal with what they've got, basically. I think there are certain orders that I would have changed personally, because I wonder why they go for certain flows in certain areas. So like you've got a couple of up tempos, then a couple of down tempos, which it seems a bit odd because it doesn't let some songs stand out. But I guess, you know, it's an interesting draw. There's definitely some songs there that have improved their chances because of this.
Yeah.
And there's definitely some songs that I think are, you know, they might struggle a little bit more. I mean, it is a semi-final, so it doesn't matter as much as it might do in the final, but it can certainly help or hinder a song's chances.
It can do, because one big example, look at Netta from Isral last year. Even though she won her semi-final, I think she only finished in 4th place with the televoters in the semi, because she had a less than perfect running order, I guess, and maybe people needed to warm up to it, but then in the final she clearly won the televote. So all you need to do is finish in the top 10. You can still make a difference there. It was interesting just how it flipped, and then the jury's only put her in 3rd place in the final. So I'm like, you never know. What I also observed, because the first semi had all the non-English songs in here, and the only song that is completely in a different language is Albania. So most of the songs are in English. Denmark has a little bit of French and some German even in there, right? I think some Danish as well, I want to say. But it's just for a short while. And the same for Croatia. They sing English and Croatian. But for the most part, Albania is the only true non-English song. So once again, the luck of the draw. So do you think that's going to work in their favor?
They'll certainly stand out. There'll certainly be a different approach to the song. I mean, it's not just the language, obviously, because you can have, you know, a very radio-friendly song in another language. I think with Albania, they stand out because it's so Albanian. You know, it feels very close to what they want to do. They've sort of stuck to their roots with that song. And, you know, we've seen it, I think, last year. They were quite similar as well. It wasn't quite as ethnic, I guess, as it this year's is. But it's another case where they've stayed true to their roots, and, you know, you hope that it might pay off for them again.
Yeah, we shall see. Yeah. Now, your thoughts on Serbuk, Armenia opening the show? Right song?
Good opener. I don't know if it would have been the one that I would have picked out of that first 9. But I can see why they have picked Armenia, because, you know, the intro to the song is quite interesting as well, because it is jarring. You know, you've got the sort of twinkly sort of effect at the start, and then all of a sudden Serbuk's in and there's attitude. So I can see from that aspect why they've picked it, because, you know, all of a sudden, whoa, this is, you know, you straight into Eurovision for the night. So hopefully, as long as she's got a good performance with the right sort of attitude and approach to the song, you know, it'll be a nice sort of big opener.
Yeah, I had it extra as my second guess. I didn't put in first in my initial prediction of the running order, I had Switzerland
Yeah.
in first. But I think either one of them could have been the first. I think the opener. None of the other songs that are in the first half scream opening.
No.
Even Sweden doesn't really. Maybe a little bit more.
Sweden could have done.
Yeah, Sweden as well, but I think the other two are.
And I don't think they ever would have really put Sweden first.
They did in 2016.
Yeah.
17, I mean.
Not so soon after.
I
think they've had their turn, haven't they?
They have 15 years before they have to go first again. I can see Serbuk also, as you pointed out, as a good opener again. Switzerland or Armenia. I guess Switzerland, but I can see where they're coming from there. Now, Ireland, second draw, I should say, not second place.
Yeah.
I think they're hoping for second place, but again, in the semis, the second song of the night, it's not uncommon for them to qualify, but it seems as that the producers put the songs that are less threatening, I guess, in there. So you think this is going to work against Ireland or Moldova, who's in third place. Neither of them are considered like really high up.
I think the thing with when you look at that first half is that there's nothing really, apart from Switzerland and Armenia, and to an extent Sweden, there's nothing really that's that up-tempo. So I don't think it's going to be as much against Ireland's favour putting them second in maybe this semi-final. I mean, if they'd have gone second in the first semi-final, it could have been curtains for them. You know, it could have been the case that, you know, it's nothing against the song or anything. It's just that because of the fact that it's a very laid-back type song, people might not have picked up on it as much as you would have hoped.
That is my concern as well, because again, and this is unfair because it's the kind of song you don't know where you're going to end up in the running order, but Ireland also feels more like a song that feels like would do better at the end of the show because it's a little bit laid back, and you still have like a laid back feeling at that point. But if you have something relaxing,
maybe like the second to last song,
and I'm gonna use, not because it's Ireland, but I find Ryan's song, was very charming. But it's also, I don't know if it done as well if it was the second song of the night rather than the second to last, because it feels as this is a little bit more of a...
The televoters might have forgotten about it.
That is the kind of thing. And that's, I feel as this could happen to Ireland this year. Not that I'm rooting for it, but I'm just saying, that could happen. Switzerland, the last time I checked at least, they were third in the betting odds. So I don't think it matters if they're first, fourth, or eighth of the night, I think.
But I have to say, that's a fantastic draw for them.
Yeah,
because they come after Moldova, which is obviously quite a slow ballad, and then you've got Latvia, which is possibly the most down tempo song really you could have this year.
It's like spa music.
It's very very sparse and laid back. So I think Switzerland's got a chance there to really impress, and he's obviously working with Eurovision royalty for the staging as well. So I can imagine that the full works are going into Switzerland's performance, and it's going to stand out from there particularly. Yeah.
So Austria was giving the best possible slot, at least based on running order, because they were the last of the second half. You think they're sitting pretty there, or increase the odds a little?
I don't think it's made too much of a difference, to be honest with you, because Austria, with that type of song, it's going to depend a lot more on the staging than I think it will on the running order. And we were talking earlier, and I have a feeling that Austria, potentially, if they get the staging right and they make it feel really intimate and down tempo, I think there's potential there for a dark horse. Maybe not to win the whole contest,
but actually to qualify, because people don't
to qualify.
Neither the odds or the fan polls have it as a qualifier.
Yeah, but I think if Austria have got the right staging, they've got the potential there to do a sort of like a 17th, 15th in the final potentially, if they've got a really effective staging. As long as they make it captivating to the audience, I don't see any reason why not. Yeah.
Initially, I actually had Austria guessed to be the second song of the night, right? Because it's the kind of song that is a little more slower, and they often put less fast songs in second slot. And all of those, I felt like, this would be a good song coming after the first fast one. But they put it last, so that's why I'm thinking this is probably a better outcome for them, because it is going to be probably more of a mood song. So I think that will work for them. I'm also thinking, and I know they take a lot of things into consideration at Eurovision, right? And as far as the running order is concerned. Styles, as I said, though, they also look at previous years. And Austria didn't get the best running orders last year. They got in the semifinals like an early second half running, and then in the first half they've got fifth, the fifth song of the night. They still finished third, but they could have potentially done better with the televoters if it would have been a little bit later on. So maybe they just wanted to give Austria a little bit of a leg up here. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. But it was just interesting. I didn't expect them to go last in that half, especially right before Croatia. I'm going to talk about that in a second. The other one that's really high up in the betting odds, Sweden, coming 8th. I think that is... I mean... I think it's a kind of song that doesn't matter either where it's going to end up.
Again, yeah, it's not really something that hinges on a good running order, really. I think it is a good running order for them, coming between Denmark and Austria.
Yeah.
Has got a chance to still stand out a bit more than maybe it could have done against, if you'd have put it after Switzerland or something, it would have been interesting to see how that would have been, received by the public. But, I think where it is, it's okay. To be honest, Sweden's not really going to be a risk in terms of non-qualification, I don't think, this year, so it won't make too much of an issue.
I concur. I totally concur. What about the second half? Anything that stands out to you the most, besides Azerbaijan going last, of course?
Yeah, I think they've done a good job with what they had available to them, but I think we both agree that the songs that they had available didn't really lend themselves very well to an easy running order to put together.
Not at all.
You look, for example, you've got your up tempos. You've got Malta, Norway, Azerbaijan, really, and then the rest of it is sort of mid to down tempo.
Yes.
So. It's interesting at the end where they put Norway with an up tempo, and then you've got Netherlands and North Macedonia, and then Azerbaijan. Maybe you could have flipped a couple of those countries around just to keep people's interest, but I think Malta have probably got quite a good draw where they are between Croatia
and Lithuania.
Yeah. And I mean, Malta's going to be one of the songs that stands out regardless of where it is, as long as the staging is good. And Michaela's got an incredible voice, so I think live she should be okay, but I think everything's working for Malta this year.
Yeah, the stars are lining up, hopefully aligning for them. And now everyone knows Russia is going to come up with a crazy staging, right? We all know that. So
we hope.
We know. They already kind of said that, right? They wrote the song with the staging in mind. So this is going to be a very, as I keep using that word, theatrical. And I think they know that the song on its own is probably less powerful without the staging. So I think they're thinking way ahead on this.
It's a package.
It's a package. So and then between Lithuania and Albania, Lithuania is a little faster. It's not like super fast, but it's a little bit more upbeat. Albania not. So that's the only thing that I find interesting. But it doesn't matter. It does not matter really with Russia. I think they're just gonna fly through. They have all the setup. There are lots of countries that traditionally vote for Russia anyway. Overall, I'm looking at the running order for the second half. I endorse this running order. I do feel that it makes sense why they put the songs where they ended up. Obvious one, Netherlands, currently the betting odds favorite, going third to last.
Yeah.
Although it's coming right after Norway, the party song. I don't know, but it's exact opposite, right? It's just a completely different demographic.
I think you can tell that Netherlands has been given a kind of, you're first in the betting odds kind of draw. They've not that they've been given a favour or anything, but they've been done justice with the draw, and coming before North Macedonia is another down-tempo song, so maybe it's a battle between the two to see which one of them will qualify. Maybe they both will. We don't know that yet. We're still at very early stages in this contest, but I think it's a good draw for probably Norway, Netherlands and Azerbaijan out of those last couple.
Absolutely, and you make a very good point that I didn't even notice, like North Macedonia right after Netherlands. Yes, people can absorb more than one ballad in a row, right? Yeah. People are a little bit more...
But it's more difficult to kind of take two in at the same time, I would say.
Yep, that's especially coming after Netherlands, assuming the staging and the feel and the vibe is right, could easily overshadow North Macedonia. Yeah. So, but I said before, Tamara, she can sing well live. So she can hold her own, if she creates a certain atmosphere that works with the viewers. Who knows? I'm hoping for North Macedonia just because we want them finally back in the finals.
It's been a long time coming.
It's been a long time coming. It's going to be interesting because if Netherlands, assuming they're going to qualify, you can see more like if Netherlands qualifies and being drawn to the first half of the finals, that's when you can especially see where the songs that usually end up higher in the semis get like between 9th and 12th or 13th running order.
They try to do them a little bit of a favour, I think,
sometimes, yes. So they want to make sure that they're not going to completely be overruled by an unfortunate running order, because let's be real. In the finals, I think we said before, running order always matters, even in the semis, but it's more significant in the finals than in the semis. Just remember Israel 2017, Imri finished like 3rd in the semifinals overall, and then in the finals going first. When it went last, it got like 5 points from the televoters. Huge drop there, and you cannot just say, well, people were getting tired of it. There is an effect there with the running order,
because there's a lot more songs to come after it than there was in the semi-final.
And unfortunate, and that's people a lot. That'll happen in the semis as well. Only tune on the TV during song 5, like they're 15-20 minutes late, so they miss the first 5 songs of the night, and that is the sucky part when it comes to television.
Or knowing that it's Saturday night, people probably aren't still awake sometimes in the later songs, so
that is true. So
they might not even remember any of the earlier ones.
That is true. So, but overall, you think this is a solid running order for semi-2?
I think every year they do a pretty decent job of it. There's certain countries that you would change, but I think considering the semi-final that they were dealt with, there's always going to be countries that maybe they aren't as happy with their draw, or fans feel that certain songs should have been here instead of here. But overall, it's not too bad of a.
It is just a very interesting semi allocation this year. Like we talked about in the first semi, there's one half that had mostly male singers, and the other half is mostly the non-English songs. And here we have it's just really weird how they all ended up in. It's not very helpful for the producers. They're all just like, dang it.
It's a very slow semi-final compared to the first one, for sure.
Very interesting. So let's figure out who you think, if there are any, the biggest winners of the draw, and who are the least lucky countries when you look at this.
I think biggest winners, you've probably got to look at Switzerland. They've got a great draw in between the 2 songs, Moldova and Latvia. You couldn't really ask for more of a chalk and cheese kind of situation. Malta have got a good draw again, similar kind of thing, where they come on, they've got a big up tempo with what we assume will be good staging and a strong voice, so that's really going to stand out. And again, I think Norway, Netherlands, those 2 in particular, probably quite happy with their draw quite late on in the semi-final, and you do have more of a chance of people remembering you. I know it doesn't have too much of an effect in the semi-final, like we keep saying, but in terms of televoters, I think it's
televoters more than anything, because the juries are required to watch them all and rank them differently.
They probably sort of take more of a vested interest in paying attention to things that maybe televoters don't, because they just the people at home are just as watching it as an entertainment show. Yeah. So they're probably not going to have as much of a vested interest, and they're not going to analyse the songs as much as we do, for example. So songs later in the running order, for the televoters at home, I think they've got more of a chance of standing out. Yeah.
Now I'm looking also at these and who the biggest, I hate the word losers, because they're not losers, but I feel it's a less fortunate draw based on my observation. I would definitely say Croatia was a little unlucky for multiple reasons. Number one, the first one of the second half, right? Great, I drew the second half and I still get, we have to go so early.
Right in the middle of the semi-final.
Right in the middle, and right before Malta. Yeah. And Malta, assuming they manage a decent staging, and I know the Maltese team is working really hard on this. Yeah. They're very, very keen, let's say, to make it back to the finals after the last couple of years. So I think this could easily drown, especially having another ballot come right before it. And I feel as Austria may have potentially more of a jury appeal than Croatia. So I think Croatia, I wouldn't be thrilled with the draw. Anything's possible, though, so don't get all mad. And the other one, I would say Moldova. Similar kind of thing, got a pretty early draw and right before Switzerland. Switzerland, everyone will just dance around and have fun and well, what? So I'm just worried those are the 2 that I'm like, maybe not. I would have preferred a different running order if I were them or the delegation. Did I miss anything, or anyone you want to point out?
I'm just having a look at it, really. Like Latvia, maybe again, because they're so close to Switzerland, maybe they'll be overshadowed potentially. And then you look at the run: Romania, Denmark, Sweden, Austria. They're all quite similar tempos as well. So you wonder, will will they stand out enough against each other, or will there be, will they collectively struggle because of where they are in the draw?
It's such a weird beginning on this semi. It's really, it's fascinating. I have no idea. I mean, people always say, it's easier to qualify from the second half, but keep in mind, last year, I think we had 6 songs from the first half qualify, and at least one, if not both semis or something like that. So it's absolutely possible that, this will not have an impact, but it seems one of the biggest popular songs are in the second half, whether it's Azerbaijan, Netherlands, Norway, Russia, Malta. I think these will be...
At the end of the day, it does come down to the song and the staging and the performance at the end of the day, but it can make slight changes to your results. And if you're on the borderline, a good draw you can finish 9th, you could finish 11th, it can change things like that. So.
It can change things like that. And that is the only downside with televoters. The juries at least rank all the songs. Televoters don't rank the songs, right? Yeah. If they're like 2 songs, like, which one? Oh yeah, Malta. Whatever it is, I'm going to call for Malta, and then do not vote for Denmark because they prefer Malta a little bit, but they would have put it second, but since they're only second, they're not going to vote for it, something like that. So that is always the downside of the televote. So that's where the running order, I think, could make somewhat of a difference. But it's not everything, so I think this is #overthinking it. But we wanted to talk about it anyway. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Is this a good, bad running order? Did we nailed it, or did we totally miss the mark? Who are the winners? Who are the losers of this semifinal running order? Leave your thoughts below in the comment section. Thank you very much, and we'll be back soon.